look at creating another table and also a basic query within Access. You'll notice I have the previous table we created here, the employees, still up. Let's go ahead and open that, and again go to Design View to see our fields. You'll notice I added a field on here, department number, which we'll get to in a minute. Let's create another table to go along with this database. Let's go ahead and click on Create Table. You'll notice it comes up again with the default name. We're going to call this Department. So let's go ahead and right-click on the Table 1 tab, click on Design View, and give it a name of Department. And now we're going to add a few fields. For the primary key, which we'll talk about, its significance here later on, we're going to call this Department Number. And change this to short text. Again, we're just going to take short text as the default for these fields. Now let's go ahead and save. And let's go ahead and go to the datasheet view and add a couple of records. So when you don't see the full name here, department, all you see is that the first word. You can go ahead and extend column to show the complete field name. Sometimes you have to be kind of tricky to get that column expanded out. Let's go ahead and hit save. We've now created our second table that we can interact with or join, as we'll talk about later. So at this point, let's go ahead and create a basic query on the employees. So you'll notice that in the employees table, I now have a field called Department Number. So this is basically our joining. So our secondary key. Your primary key over here is employee ID 101, 102. And you have your secondary key, which in this case is the department number. And we'll just put both of these employees in department 1000, which is engineering. And let's do a save. Now we can create a basic query on the employees table. So go ahead and click your create. You can do it one of two ways, query design or query wizard. Go ahead and click on the query wizard and take the default simple query wizard and hit OK. And now with the wizard, you can go ahead and bring in the fields you want to include in this query or the question you're going to ask the database. So let's go with employee ID, last name, first name, and department number. And go ahead and click Next. And let's take the default open query to view information. So let's go, you see it's in datasheet view right now. So go ahead and click on employee query, click on design view. And you'll notice that what we've selected as field-wise, employee ID, first name, last name, and department number, is the structure for our query. So now we want to put some criteria to it. We'll get into criteria for query here later on, next few chapters. So in this case, equal department number. And let's go ahead and click the Run button. And again, we have our two individuals that we currently have in the department number of 1,000. So in designing tables, there are a few guidelines that the book talks about in creating a basic table. Always include the necessary data and design for now and the future. So think of when your design process, you're looking at futures down the road. It's easier to design now and accommodate calculations, fields, and so forth than it is when you've got one-to-many databases, tables that you're trying to interact with. And store data in their smallest parts. Again, a good example is somebody's, if you have a field like Sam Edward Smith as a full name, it's hard to do a query on it, on a full name. Bring it down to the smallest level, like first name, middle name, and last name. Also determine your primary keys. In this case, the example we have is employee ID. And link tables on common fields. In this case, we're linking them on department number. And lastly, which is important, design to accommodate calculations. So again, if you're going to have a field that requires it being a number for calculation purposes, do that in the design process.